Mr. Speaker, this morning I rise to provide this Honorable House with an update on the United Nations Joint Sustainable Development Goals Fund program, Building Back Equal through Innovative Financing for Gender Equality and Women's Empowerment, also referred to as the Building Back Equal project, led by UN Women in partnership with the United Nations Development Program. This joint program was officially launched in Bermuda on June 27, 2022, and recently extended until October of 2024. Mr. Speaker, I take this opportunity to remind my honorable colleagues that the joint program, the Building Back Equal project, aims to diversify Bermuda's economy by supporting the growth of new opportunities for empowering women, our youth, and persons with disabilities, to engage in key economic sectors such as agricultural, cultural, and creative industries, micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, and sustainable tourism. The joint program also aligns with the government's national priorities and its commitment to ensuring the advancement of gender affairs. The joint program encourages productive engagement for the growth of new opportunities in sectors such as agricultural, fisheries, and cultural industries. Mr. Speaker, in February of 2024, representatives from UN Women Caribbean and UNDP Multi-Country Office in Jamaica made their second mission trip this year to Bermuda to advance the Build Back Equal project. The first mission trip was in October of 2023. Mr. Speaker, as part of the terms of reference for the joint program, feasibility studies were to be undertaken on the business landscape of women, youth, and persons with disability entrepreneurs. This is what the second mission trip in February this year focused on, in addition to introducing a potential accelerator program to the Bermuda Economic Development Corporation for micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises. Mr. Speaker, you may recall that in 2022, I informed this Honorable House that UN Women was seeking to hire consultants as researchers for the Build Back Equal project. Also in March of 2023, I shared that another consultation position was advertised by UN Women for a consultant to be hired and based in Bermuda to support the activities of the joint program. At that time, the ministry issued a press release to encourage Bermudians to apply for this job opportunity to work for UN Women within the framework of the joint program. Mr. Speaker, I am proud to announce that Bermudian Ms. Celestia Pichai was hired by UN Women as the Bermuda-based consultant. Ms. Pichai is an accredited climate change professional who has 12 years of experience working at HSBC Bermuda, leading the bank's corporate social responsibility and sustainability function. Ms. Pichai attended the Berkeley Institute and holds a BA in Event Management, a Master's of Science in Social Responsibility and Sustainability, and a Green Finance certification. Ms. Pichai is also a consultant with Bermuda's international business sector with a focus on environment, social and governance, strategic development, and climate risk. Mrs. Pichai has been contracted by UN Women to provide support for the Building Back Equal project by liaising with various partners of the joint program such as UN Women, UNDP, other consultants, the Ministry of Youth, Social Development and Seniors, Bermuda Economic Development Corporation, and key community stakeholders to build a framework that fosters economic development, focusing on growing and scaling women-owned and led businesses within Bermuda. Mr. Speaker, in addition to Mrs. Celestia Pichai, UN Women has contracted 3 more consultants to advance the Bermuda Building Back Equal program to the next phase. These consultants each have specialized training, skills, and expertise required to conduct the specific feasibility studies and were all on island in February during the UN Women and UNDP mission trip. Mr. Speaker, let me share a bit about the consultants' expertise and the work they have commenced to progress the Building Back Equal program. Firstly, Mr. Speaker, Ms. Kizan Sami is a senior development professional. She holds more than 20 years of experience in program implementation across government, the private sector, and nonprofit organizations located in North America, Latin America, and the Caribbean, Asia, Europe, the Middle East, and Sub-Saharan Africa. These organizations include Caribbean governments, Global Affairs Canada, the Inter-American Development Bank, CARICOM, the Red Cross Society, the UN Environment Program, and UN Women. Ms. Sammy is highly qualified with a master's degree in international development and an MBA in economic crime and fraud management. She divides her time between consultancies in primary health care programs in Canada and gender lens investing programs across the international projects. Ms. Sammy was contracted by UN Women to develop and conduct a feasibility study on financing instructions for women-owned MSMEs in 6 Caribbean islands and Bermuda, and to present a report with recommendations under the SDG Fund program. Mr. Cesar Yamal, the second consultant, is an experienced international consultant in designing, coordinating, implementing, supervising, and evaluating national and regional gender-focused projects, programs, and public policy centered on development and investment in science, technology, innovation, research, higher education, environment, SMEs, business incubation, and entrepreneurship, covering both technical and logistical, as well as fiduciary aspects. Mr. Yamal holds a doctorate in chemical sciences, a master's in business administration, specializing in management consultant, and is a Fulbright scholar. He has field experience working in various countries in Latin America and the Caribbean, Africa, Eastern Europe, Asia, Oceania. Mr. Yamal has 10 years of experience working at the World Bank and as a consultant for Inter-American Development Bank. Mr. Yamal has been contracted by UN Women to conduct a needs assessment on financial instruments for women-owned MSMEs in Bermuda under the SDG Fund program. Mrs. Heather Pinnock, the third consultant, is a development professional with formal training in architectural urban design and project management, who holds professional certifications as an agile project management, Scrum Master, an Earth Check Design accredited professional, and a licensed real estate person. Her experience includes master planning, energy efficient and net zero buildings, sustainable housing, and public spaces. Since 2022, Ms. Pinnock has served as a planning advisor to UN Women Caribbean and co-chair of the Commonwealth Women in Planning Network. Ms. Pinnock leads her own boutique development company, LUCEA Caribbean, which offers advisory services with a focus on sustainable development, climate resilience, and conscious living for tropical regions. Ms. Pinnock has been contracted by UN Women to undertake training needs assessment on climate and shock resilient needs of women-owned MSMEs, unemployed women, and other marginalized groups in Bermuda. Mr. Speaker, a total of 9 delegates associated with the joint program, who represent both the UN Women and the UNDP multi-country office, were on island the week of February 5th, 2024. The mission provided an opportunity for delegates to meet with government ministers, members of the public, service executive, Bermuda Economic Development Corporation, technical officers, banks and businesses, entrepreneurs. The UN Women consultants had a full schedule of activities that included but were not limited to meeting with myself and technical officers in the Ministry of Youth, Social Development, and Seniors, including the Office of Aging and Disability Services, participating in focus group sessions with youth-owned businesses, women-owned businesses located in the east end of the island, women-owned businesses in the west end of the island, women-owned businesses located in the center of the island, successful established women-owned businesses and those in the earlier stage of business, and men-owned businesses. Engaging financial institutions, Bermuda Commercial Bank and Clarion Bank, meeting with key stakeholders including BEDC, the Human Rights Commission, the Bermuda Business Development Agency, and the Bermuda Tourism Authority. Consultation with civil society organizations that empower women, youth, and persons with disabilities, inclusive of the Women's Resource Center, Future Leaders Bermuda, and Tomorrow's Voices. and site visits across the island to meet women-owned businesses. Mr. Speaker, I personally participated in the consultation meeting held with nonprofit organization We Speak, which was created for women by women. This meeting allowed me to hear how passionate and dedicated the members of this organization are to helping women to find and project their voices and build confidence and leadership capabilities by developing their presentation and public speaking skills. We Speak empowers women by providing a safe space for women to improve their public speaking skills. I also sat in on the focus group session with our successful, established women-owned businesses. This provided me with an opportunity to hear the success stories along with the barriers these women face and the recommendations they made to potentially close existing gaps to improve the business environment for women-owned MSMEs. Mr. Speaker, the purpose of the various forums was for the UN Women Consultants to gather information by listening to entrepreneurs of MSMEs experience, their concerns and potential solutions to improve the local landscape for MSMEs and how this could be facilitated in practice. Mr. Speaker, the question is always asked, what's next? Let me say that the site visits held by the UN Women Consultants, the focus group sessions, the individual discussions, meetings with financial institutions, government ministries and departments, and nonprofit organizations all provided feedback that will feed into the assessments being conducted by the UN Women's Consultants and form part of a national report to provide Bermuda's current position as a country. This would allow themes and trends to be identified to create an overall country profile that would support the direction of piloting innovative financing tools for gender equality to enable entrepreneurs who are women, youth, and persons with disabilities to access additional capital, reduce risk, and accelerate SDGs achievements. These assessments are a first for Bermuda, and the ministry certainly welcomes the national report. The Ministry of Youth, Social Development, and Seniors remains committed to sharing this report upon completion. I also look forward to sharing subsequent updates with this Honorable House on the progress of building back Equal Joint Program. Mr. Speaker, the contribution the delegates from UN Women and UNDP have made thus far for Bermuda and its citizens in advancing new opportunities through the joint program is trailblazing. I extend my heartfelt thanks to Ms. Erica Smith, Executive Director of BEDC, Ms. Jamila Lodge, Communication and Development Director of BEDC, and their team for their invaluable contributions, their commitment to the program, and their expertise. Lastly, thank you to the government departments, owners of the MSMEs, members of civil society organizations, and financial organizations that participated in the consultations and site visits. Your time and feedback are valued. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.